First item is resolution number R2336. A resolution electing a justice of the peace to preside over a portion of the October 9, 2023 Quorum Court meeting in the absence of the county judge.
Just so I can address that briefly, that is a resolution that is necessary to consider the following resolution. And the following resolution regards the need to get an Attorney General's opinion regarding the naming of this building, and that directly involves Judge Mahoney, and it would be appropriate for him to preside over that portion. So all the resolution you're looking at there does is allow the Quorum Court to pick someone else to preside for about 5 minutes, about 20 minutes from now.
Okay, good. Do I have a motion for a new pass?
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. All right, good. Pardon? Sorry. So, are there questions or comments before we vote? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Given a new pass. Next one is resolution number R2327. A resolution expressing support to request an Attorney General's opinion regarding the naming of a public facility and for other purposes.
Just so, and again, that's the resolution we just discussed. It is requested the vote of the Quorum Court to request an Attorney General's opinion to clarify whether or not this building can be named after.
Does anybody have any questions of the county attorney?
John, I saw the list of JPs and yeses and noes. Will that be a form of voting, or how will we?
Yes, sir. We have to have basically an election. One member of this body will trade places with Judge Mahoney to preside over that portion of it. And the way you do that is you just ask that your vote is called, fill in that.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All in favor of this?
We don't have
I'll move for new pass. I thought we had a motion in a second. Second. You have it now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Then, I think we're ready to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Yeah, ayes have it. Resolution is adopted. Next item is ordinance number O23-33. An ordinance to authorize a one-time premium paid to essential county employees with the exclusion of all elected officials, poll workers, election commissioners, equalization board members, county library employees, law library employees, and commission deputy sheriffs employed as such, from funds received from the American Rescue Plan Fund and for other purposes.
Move to adopt.
Second. Motion and a second. Is there discussion or questions? Judge, you want to address this now or during the court meeting? During the court meeting?
This is just for form.
All right, good. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. The ordinance, we're going to do library employees who receive the full premium paid from the American Rescue Plan Fund, all library employees and commission deputy sheriffs employed as such, from funds received from the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security CARES Act Fund, and for other purposes. Motion and a second for a Ordinance O-2332 to correct a scrivener's error in Section 2 to comply with the county judge's request in the second whereas and for other purposes.
Move we give it a due pass.
Second.
There was a motion, and who was the second? Okay. Motion and a second for a due pass. Are there questions or comments? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. It's given a due pass. Next is appropriation ordinance number O-23-36, an ordinance to amend the 2023 Garland County Budget Ordinance O-22-57 to anticipate revenue, appropriate and transfer funds therefore to various budgets and for other purposes.
Move for a due pass. Second.
Been a motion and a second for a due pass. Are there questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. It's given a due pass. And I believe that will take care of the resolutions and ordinances. And that being the case, is there any reason why we shouldn't declare an adjournment?
Adjourned we are.
Then we are adjourned.
Brother Lance Nelson will lead us tonight in prayer. Come forward and say a prayer word and join us in the pledge, please.
Our Father, we are grateful tonight to come before you.
Sarah, would you please call the roll?
Justice Broughton?
Here.
Anderson?
Here.
Dixon?
Here.
Young?
Here.
Bright? Owen? Myers?
Here.
Brazil?
Here.
Peters?
Here.
McGrew? Here. Hunter?
Here.
Brown?
Here.
Rainey?
Thank you, Sarah. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting.
So moved. Second.
Wow. So I got the second. That was Dr. Peters. Who? Brazil? Is it?
Sure.
Justice Brazil has the motion to approve. Justice Peters has the motion for second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Chair will entertain a motion for approval of the minutes from the September 11th Quorum Court meeting.
So moved. Second.
Justice Young, the motion. Second, Justice Dixon. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We just have 4 exhibits tonight, Exhibit A through D. They're all in your packet. If everyone's had a chance to look at those, Chair will entertain a motion to approve the exhibits.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Justice Dixon, second by Justice Peters. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, committee reports. Ordinance Committee, Justice Owen.
Gotta find them committee reports real good.
Prior to this meeting here tonight, and the resolutions and ordinances all received due passes.
Thank you. Environmental Services Committee, Public Works and Buildings, Justice Hunter.
Yes, Judge, we met the 18th of September. We discussed Resolution 2327, house-to-house increase of $1 a month starting in 2024.
All right, thank you, sir. Finance Committee, Justice Brazil.
Finance met October the 2nd, and everything on the agenda received a due pass.
Thank you, sir. Human Resources Committee, Justice Anderson.
Judge, we met 25 September, and Exhibit C reflect the business that came before us.
Thank you. Public Health, Welfare, and Safety Committee.
Judge, the Public Health, Welfare, and Safety Committee did not meet.
Thank you, Justice Rainey. IT Committee, Justice Young.
Did not meet.
Thank you. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the committee reports.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Anderson, second by Justice Broughton. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you. All right, we've got some presentations for acknowledgement tonight of 10 years of service. For those of you that don't know, we have acknowledgement for 10, 20, and 30 years of service. Believe it or not, we do have some employees that have been with us for 30 years, but tonight they're all 10-year employees. Some of them are not here tonight for one reason or another, but we do have one that's here, and that's Mr. Freddie Wilson, Jr., from the tax collector's office. And Chairman, I wonder if you would step forward and give a presentation. If you'd come forward, please, Freddie. Justice Anderson, I'm sorry. Now, well, he can come out there wherever Susan can get the best picture of you at. Shorter for him to walk. Thank you. And I might add, Freddie's the best at helping me put canopies back in their bags. So the others that we acknowledge tonight that weren't able to be here is Sharon Brandstetter for 10 years of service at the detention center, Leslie Crow for 10 years of service at the Sheriff's Department, and Tony Pike for 10 years of service at the Road Department. And I'll make sure they get their items, and I appreciate the fact that they are long-term employees. John, you want to take over?
Can't really preside over the meeting, but I can let everybody know the procedure for what we need to do next. Can everyone hear me? I don't know if that microphone was on or not.
That's better. That's better.
Okay, so what you're looking at now, Justices, is you have two resolutions that you've discussed in ordinance this evening and you've previously discussed in other committee meeting. The first of those is to elect a member to preside over the quorum court for the next 10 minutes or so while you consider the following resolution. That is necessary because Judge Mahoney is involved in that resolution. It would be inappropriate for him to preside. So the procedure for you now is if you approve this resolution, then you would need to name a person from among yourselves to preside, and then your vote would be voting for that person. So I think your proper procedure at this point is to take a nomination or nominations as to someone to preside for the next however long this takes.
If it's okay with her, I'd like to nominate Justice Dixon to preside over the meeting.
Second.
Any other nominations?
I nominate Judge Owen.
Second.
Justice Owen, I'm sorry.
Second.
Anyone else?
I'm in favor of Justice Owen. I'll withdraw my nomination for Justice Dixon.
Justice Dixon, are you agreeable to that? You've been nominated and seconded. Okay. Any other nominations? It would be appropriate at this point to take a vote on Justice Owen presiding over the resolution 2327. Sarah, if you'll call the roll for that.
Who was that second?
It was Justice Dixon.
Okay, thank you. Justice Broughton,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Dixon,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Bright,
Yes.
Owen. Myers,
Yes.
Brazil,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
McGrew,
Yes.
Hunter,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Rainey.
Yes.
There, the result.
12-4, 1 abstain.
Justice Owen, if you would, it appears that you have been nominated and confirmed by election to preside over the next portion of the meeting. That is Resolution R 2327. If you'd take your place up here, please. And Sarah, if you'll note that R 2326 is passed by the numbers that you just recited.
To clarify one thing, I believe you said to me before we just did this, that if I were selected to chair this part of the meeting, that I would not be able to vote on the...
Correct. The chair of the meeting does not vote. If it's the quorum court, he presides with the power of veto. In an emergency or special situation such as this, the person that's elected presides without the power of veto, but you do not vote.
All right, anybody have any questions before we start?
Justice Owen, if it's helpful, I can make a quick summary of this, or
That would be
you can
helpful.
preside as however you see appropriate.
That would be helpful.
This is a resolution expressing a support to request an Attorney General's opinion regarding the naming of the building that we're sitting in. Earlier this year, the Quorum Court approved a resolution naming this building in honor of Judge Mahoney. There has been a request. There is no apparent reported decisions by either an appellate authority or the Attorney General's opinion to clarify whether that would be appropriate or not. There's been a request to get an Attorney General's opinion on this, and this resolution would authorize that. That is specifically what you're voting for here, or what you're considering.
Well,
Is there any discussion?
what does the decision mean?
The decision means that if the decision is, the resolution
Or
is
opinion of the Attorney General, sorry.
nothing, other than it is not binding upon us. It is an opinion of a state agency, and of course, they try to get it right.
Yeah.
And courts give them some measure of deference, but it's certainly in no way binding.
Okay.
It's no more binding than my opinion or any other attorney's opinion. The ones who matter are the courts.
Okay.
But it is guidance. It serves as guidance for us.
All right.
Did I answer your question?
Yes,
Justice
sir.
Broughton?
Any other questions?
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman. I'd make a motion to table this resolution indefinitely, turn it back to the Environmental Services, Public Works, and Building Committee for study. My thoughts on this that drive me to this are this. We created this problem. We ought not be shoving it off on the AG. We created the problem. We can address it and do it in-house. The fact of the matter is that when we addressed this, we had 11 votes all in favor of this. We were all asked beforehand if we could support that, and we all must have agreed, and we voted on it unanimously. I think at this point, because there is an objection, or at least it appears to be an objection with the building being named the Mahoney Building, that should be hashed out internally within a committee rather than sending it to the state to straighten out a mess that we created. That's my motion, that we set it aside indefinitely, send it back to the committee for study, and a recommendation to the Quorum Court on whether we should change the building back or leave it stand as it currently is as the Mahoney Building.
Is that an appropriate motion?
Yes. So Justice Owen has just asked whether that was an appropriate motion. Justice Rainey's motion to table is appropriate, assuming it gets a second.
I'll second it.
So at this point, Justice Owen, you would be calling for a vote on the motion.
Okay, who seconded it? Okay.
Justice Rainey and Justice
Seconded.
Peters.
Okay, good.
Which committee was it going to? Buildings? Okay.
It'd be Public Works, Buildings.
Gotcha.
And you say it's not binding one way or the other?
Attorney General's opinion is not binding. It is guidance, it is strong guidance, but it is not binding. You do not have to comply with it. A court is what the binding opinion is. Attorney General's opinions are issued in areas frequently where there is a question about the law, or where there needs clarification, or where it's unsettled, and this kind of falls into that realm.
Does everybody understand the motion? Anybody not understand the motion? Do I need to call by name?
You've got a motion and second. It would be appropriate at this point to take a vote on that. So you can ask Sarah to call the roll.
Call the roll, Sarah.
Justice Broughton?
To clarify, Justice Broughton, you look a little confused, so let me jump in here and make sure everyone understands. What you're voting on right now is Justice Rainey's motion to table this in this body and send it to a committee for further discussion and review. That's all you're voting for.
Justice Owen, John, I've drawn a blank on Robert's Rules of Order. Is there any discussion on a motion to table?
No.
Bear with me one second. That's a very good question.
What are they asking? Pardon? I thought you said Peters did.
For today's purpose.
Justice Myers, our procedural ordinance generally tracks Robert's rules. It's not addressed in there. If we do need that answer, give me just a minute and I'll pull that up.
Without objection, I'd just like to offer something, or we can wait to see if there's a ruling on that.
Justice Owen, are you offering an amendment?
No, I was just
Offering
going
something
to
else.
offer discussion on, I'm against the motion to table, and I was going to explain my purpose for bringing this resolution in the first place.
Do we need the answer on your question?
If not, unless Justice Owens would be okay with allowing me to speak right now.
If the chair has no objection and there is no objection from anyone else, discussion is always available unless there's an objection.
Anybody have any objection to further discussion?
No. You have a motion and a second on the floor. I call the question.
That does end discussion. Call for the question does end discussion.
Doesn't apply?
No, it does end discussion. A call for the question ends further discussion.
All right, then we'll proceed to vote.
Okay. Justice Broughton?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Young?
No.
Yes. Wright? Yes. Myers?
Very transparent to table it without discussion, no.
Brazil?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
McGrew?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Rainey?
Yes.
Sarah, please announce your votes, your total.
We have 10 for, 2 against. 1
10 for,
abstain.
2 against Justice Rainey's motion to table and refer to committee. Justice Owen, that would at that point be approval of that.
That then ends the,
That would end further consideration of the resolution as a whole until the committee does whatever the committee does.
all right.
Is there any other comment or
So,
input from anyone?
so if we decide on buildings that it is in fact not supposed to be named after Mahoney, then we would change the name back to what? Or, I mean, we would
Nothing.
discuss that?
Certainly, yeah.
Yeah.
The underlying issue here, and Justice Myers may want to address that, and I think it would be appropriate for him to respond to my comment if he wants to do this. The underlying issue is the name of the building.
Right.
This is all procedural stuff. The underlying issue is the name of the building, whether it's appropriate to name it after Judge Mahoney. The committee will then be considering that issue. That's where we're at. And Justice Myers, I think it's appropriate for you to respond to my comment if you would like to do that.
Thank you, John. You know, the purpose for the Attorney General's opinion was to seek guidance on the language of the law. Now, I know who the members of the Public Works and Buildings Committee, I'm one of them. Nobody on that committee, because Justice Owen's not on that committee, I don't believe, is an attorney. So how we're going to sit around and the 7 of us try and hash out what a law says was the whole reason that this resolution got out of Public Works and Buildings in the first place. So with respect to all of you, I think the motion to table was the wrong decision. And I'll be completely honest, I don't even see any reason to bring it up in Environmental Services, Public Works and Buildings again, because there's nothing that we can, I'm not an attorney, nobody else on that committee is an attorney. There's nothing that we can discuss in there that's going to give us an opinion on the law. And it's been brought to my attention that there's some individuals that may bring a lawsuit in regards to the naming of the building. And since we just decided we're not even going to seek an Attorney General's opinion and limited discussion with no discussion on the motion to table, we probably deserve a lawsuit, to be quite frank.
Anyone else have any comments?
John, was the
in response
opportunity
to
for him to speak?
I'm sorry.
Is that for all of us? Is that opportunity to speak to all of us?
Well, I made a comment in response to Justice Broughton's. I think it's appropriate for anyone else who has questions about that or wants to make a comment to do so now.
Yeah.
So certainly you would be appropriate to comment.
I don't understand the need for a repetition. It's been to buildings and buildings sent it to us. But that's done. It's a repetition of process. It got sent here tonight by buildings already. That's kind of loopy.
I completely agree, and the vote in Public Works and Buildings was either 5-1 or 6-1. I don't know exactly how it was recorded, and that's a majority of the Quorum Court that was on that committee, and we tabled it. Now we're going to send it back to the same group of people that sent it to us. I agree. It makes absolutely no sense except for a way to kill the resolution without everybody being put on record on how they vote on it.
And if I'm not out of order, Justice Rainey, the state passed this legislation. It would be the state's position, Attorney General, to comment on it, not buildings, a second time.
My point is this. If you get in the Attorney General can issue one of two positions. Yes, we are in violation of the law and that will require action on our part. Or that we are not, and that thing stays the same. Okay. That gives you a definition. But this wouldn't be a question to start off with if somewhere, someplace, somebody objected to the fact that we named the building after a living human being, okay? One or two things can happen if we send it back to committee. The committee can say, it stands and we just have this same thing next month. Or they can say, no, they send back a recommendation that we not name the building. And if that's the case, now to me, clearly, over these past 4 months as I've looked at this and studied it, the law is vague, but it's clear in its intent and my interpretation, which differs from the interpretation that John gave us. With all due respect, John, I think its clear intent is that we should not name people that are alive unless under some severe situation, and that I can understand that, but it's not clear enough for me to say that that's what we ought to do at this point. And I know that's kind of a reversal of my thinking as I've expressed in the past, but the fact is, we created this. We need to do our own homework and clean it up. All we can do is my opinion, to send it back to the committee. Committee can hear it again. Send it back to the Quorum Court. Yep, but I think it's serious enough, and I don't think we ought to be going to the state to solve our problems. We ought to solve our problems internally.
Anyone else?
I was just going to, Justice Rainey, now that I follow where you're coming from, I agree with your line of thinking. That's actually an extremely good point. We didn't know about it when we made our initial decision, so more discussion amongst ourselves, and we could always decide future date to seek an Attorney General's opinion if that committee so desired. So I actually agree with your line of thinking.
Anyone else?
I think what John said about it not being, the Attorney General's opinion not being binding, that it would be settled in court if we decided that we wanted to leave it like it is. So I think that, we need to go ahead and take care of it one way or the other ourselves rather than, either get the Attorney General's opinion and move forward, or just leave it like it is.
Anyone else? So a couple quick points, not really points, but just for your information. I had a contact today, a citizen contact, that essentially made two valid points. One of them is that a committee should be considering this, or there should be public consideration of this. So I agree, I think that's valid. And number two, that there's the possibility for an FOI violation in the way that I distributed this information to you guys. There's a line of cases that basically say it could be considered a meeting, a public meeting under the FOI, if you poll a governing body. And while I think that I have pretty solid good faith argument that the way this was handled was valid, I don't think that's something that should be really considered in the situation. If there's a concern about an FOI violation, I think the FOI is important enough that certainly anything like that needs to be made known to the public and discussed in public. So, and the underlying principle in the FOI is, if there's a question, it should be disclosed. It should be open. It should be transparent. And I'm saying all this to say that any further contact for this situation or similar situations, we'll be looking at a public meeting for it. Anybody have questions? Chairman Owen, if there are no further questions,
I'll step
you may
back.
be relieved.
Thank you.
Yes, please. Sir, are we still on the record? Yes, sir. So we have a question from the crowd. What are we doing at this point? There was a motion to table the resolution. That motion was seconded and approved. The resolution, the motion also referred it to a committee for further study and public input. So at this point, it has been referred to the Public Works and Buildings Committee for further input. Yes, sir. And that closes that issue. Justice Owen, you are relieved. Judge Mahoney, you may resume.
Okay, we'll take up with our ordinances. Looks like they're all, no, they're not either. So let's start with O2333 in its entirety. Please, sir.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to authorize a one-time premium paid to essential county employees with the exclusion of all elected officials, poll workers, election commissioners, equalization board members, county library employees, law library employees, and commission deputy sheriffs employed as such from funds received from the American Rescue Plan Fund and for other purposes. Whereas the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, Public Law Number 117-2, the Act was adopted into law on March 11, 2021. The Act established the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, which provides in part funding to counties to address the various adverse impacts of COVID-19 upon these governmental units, including premium pay for eligible essential workers under the United States Department of the Treasury Final Rule Definitions, 31 CFR Part 35. And whereas the Act and the Final Rule set forth the authority and need for providing premium pay to assure the retention and support of essential workers in public functions, and whereas the Quorum Court established a special revenue fund called the American Rescue Plan Fund by Ordinance O2114 on May 10, 2021. And whereas the Quorum Court of Garland County recognizes the need to provide resilience to our local government by providing premium pay to eligible workers retroactively as authorized by the Act and guidance from the Final Rule. And whereas the premium pay and matching benefits to be paid to all eligible employees with the exclusion of all elected officials, poll workers, election commissioners, equalization board members, county library employees, and law library employees was appropriated in the original budget for 2023. And whereas the premium pay and benefits appropriated for commission deputy sheriffs employed as such will not be distributed, the deputy sheriff sheriffs who were under the pay rate threshold received a pay increase to support employee retention instead of premium pay in 2023. And whereas the premium payments will exclude all elected officials, poll workers, election commissioners, equalization board members, county library employees, law library employees, and commission deputy sheriffs employed as such. And whereas an eligible employee is defined as an essential worker who worked between October 9, 2022 and March 25, 2023, and is in active status on November 4, 2023. And whereas the eligible full-time employees will receive $2 per hour for up to 500 hours worked between October 9, 2022 and March 25, 2023. And eligible part-time employees will receive $2 per hour for up to 250 hours worked between October 9, 2022 and March 25, 2023. And whereas the Finance Committee previously met and approved this request, now therefore it be enacted by the Quorum Court of Garland County, Arkansas, Section 1, that the Quorum Court of Garland County, Arkansas hereby authorizes a one-time premium paid to essential county employees with the exclusion of all elected officials, poll workers, election commissioners, equalization board members, county library employees, law library employees, and commission deputy sheriffs employed as such from funds received from the American Rescue Plan Fund. Section 2, that Garland County Commission deputy sheriffs employed as such, a class of employees who were previously eligible for premium pay, have been added to the list of excluded employees due to the class of employees receiving a pay increase effective May 21, 2023, which offsets the loss of premium pay. The Quorum Court hereby finds that the salary increases requested by the sheriff is based on his salary survey serve to ensure necessary employee retention and support public safety functions, adequately offset the loss of premium pay, and justified exclusion from the list of employees eligible for premium pay.
Judge, I make a motion, we place ordinance O-2333 on its second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Brazil, second by Justice Broughton. Sarah, please call the roll.
Justice Broughton?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Bright? Yes. Owen?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Brazil?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
McGrew?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Rainey?
Yes.
All right, Sarah, please read 2333 by title only.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to authorize a one-time premium paid to essential county employees with the exclusion of all elected officials, poll workers, election commissioners, equalization board members, county library employees, law library employees, and commission deputy sheriffs employed as such from funds received from the American Rescue Plan Fund and for other purposes.
Judge, I move we suspend the rules and place ordinance 2333 on its third and final reading by title only.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Brazil, second by Justice Dixon, to place O-2333 on its third and final reading by title only. Sarah, please call the roll.
Justice Broughton?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Bright? Yes. Owen? Yes. Myers?
Yes.
Brazil?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
McGrew?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Rainey?
Yes.
All right, Sarah, please read 2333 by title only.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to authorize a one-time premium paid to essential county employees with the exclusion of all elected officials, poll workers, election commissioners, equalization board members, county library employees, law library employees, and commission deputy sheriffs employed as such from funds received from the American Rescue Plan Fund and for other purposes.
Move to adopt O-2333.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Brown, second by Justice Peters, to adopt O-2333. Any discussion? Hearing none, Sarah, please call the roll.
Justice Broughton?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Bright? Yes. Owen? Yes. Myers?
Yes.
Brazil?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
McGrew?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Rainey?
Yes.
Chair will entertain a motion to declare an emergency.
So
So
moved.
move. Second.
Motion made by Justice Dixon, second by Justice Brown. Sarah, please call the roll.
Justice Broughton?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Bright? Owen?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Brazil?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
McGrew?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Rainey?
Yes.
Okay, Sarah, please read O-2334 in its entirety.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to authorize a one-time premium paid to essential county employees with the exclusion of all elected officials, poll workers, election commissioners, equalization board members, county library employees who receive the full premium pay from the American Rescue Plan Fund, law library employees, and commissioned deputy sheriffs employed as such from funds received from the Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security CARES Act Fund and for other purposes. Whereas the county judge requests an appropriation of $39,968.94 in the CARES Act Fund to pay premium paid to employees that are not excluded below. And whereas the Quorum Court of Garland County recognizes the need to provide resilience to our local government by providing premium paid to eligible workers retroactively. And whereas the premium pay and matching benefits are to be paid to all eligible employees with the exclusion of all elected officials, poll workers, election commissioners, equalization board members, county library employees who receive the full premium pay from the ARP fund, law library employees, and commissioned deputy sheriffs employed as such. And whereas an eligible employee is defined as an essential worker who worked between March 26, 2023 and October 7, 2023 and is in active status on November 4, 2023. And whereas the eligible full-time employees will receive $2 per hour for up to 500 hours worked between March 26, 2023 and October 7, 2023, and eligible part-time employees will receive $2 per hour for up to 250 hours worked between March 26, 2023 and October 7, 2023. And whereas the Finance Committee previously met and approved this request, now therefore it be enacted by the Quorum Court of Garland County, Arkansas, Section 1, that the sum of $39,968.94 is hereby appropriated from the CARES Act Fund to the county judge's budget. Line item 1005.0100.1001, salaries full-time, $28,579.50. Line item 1005.0100.1002, salaries part-time, $3,923.50. Line item 1005.0100.1006, Social Security matching, $2,486.48. Line item 1005.0100.1007, retirement matching, $4,979.46, for a total of $39,968.94. Section 2, that the sum mentioned in Section 1 does not affect the CARES Act Fund anticipated revenues. Section 3, that the sum mentioned in Section 1 represents an increase of $39,968.94 in the county judge's budget.
Judge, I move that we suspend the rules and place appropriation ordinance 2334 on its second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Brazil, second by Justice Brown, place 2334 on its second reading by title only. Sarah, please call the roll.
Justice Broughton?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Bright? Owen?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Brazil?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
McGrew?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Rainey?
Yes.
All right, Sarah, please read O 2334 by title only.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to authorize a one-time premium paid to essential county employees with the exclusion of all elected officials, poll workers, election commissioners, equalization board members, county library employees who receive the full premium pay from the American Rescue Plan Fund, law library employees, and commissioned deputy sheriffs employed as such from funds received from the Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security CARES Act Fund and for other purposes.
Judge, I move that we place appropriation ordinance 2334 on its third and final reading by title only.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Brazil, second by Justice Brown. Place 2334 on its third and final reading by title only. Sarah, please call the roll.
Justice Broughton?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Bright? Yes. Owen?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Brazil?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
McGrew?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Rainey?
Yes.
All right, Sarah, please read 2334 by title only.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to authorize a one-time premium paid to essential county employees with the exclusion of all elected officials, poll workers, election commissioners, equalization board members, county library employees who receive the full premium pay from the American Rescue Plan Fund, law library employees, and commissioned deputy sheriffs employed as such from funds received from the Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security CARES Act Fund and for other purposes.
Move we adopt appropriation ordinance O-2334.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Brown, second by Justice Hunter, to adopt O-2334. Any discussion?
I've just got a quick question. It relates to this ordinance and the one we just passed. Does, after the appropriation in the last ordinance out of the American Rescue Plan Fund and then this one out of the CARES Act Fund, is there any money left over in either one of those funds after passing this?
Yes, I don't have the exact balance, but both of them have funds left in them. Justice Myers, Susan may have the exact balances.
I don't, but there's over $5 million in the ARPA funds, and there's over $1 million left in the CARES funds. The reason we did the CARES is because we have a lot of new employees that we need retention, and we don't want to not give them a bonus, and everybody else is getting one.
I'm not, my question, or the reason I was asking that, I agree, Judge Mahoney, everybody who was involved in this, these are great ordinances, our employees deserve the bonuses. What I was curious about that question was, since we got $5 million and then $1 million in the CARES Act fund, seems like we got plenty of money to buy a senior center with some of that federal money.
I don't know if we can use that for a senior center, but we do have some of it going towards radio system upgrades that we've talked about before, and working to do a grant program with the schools to put the BDAs into school buildings so all public safety agencies can reach out of there. But I think that, to your point, I think that we're in good shape to try to find a senior center that works well for everyone's in a good location, big enough. As a matter of fact, Justice Young and I were discussing another location that might work. So we're going to find one that meets everybody's needs and won't cost an arm and a leg to rehab. And then the next thing you have to look at, as you well know, is cost of operation. You know, and that's something that I'm going to probably come to this court with to see if we can't at least help it get off the ground. We've had 2 or 3 meetings with CHI and some other partners to look at working through getting some more grants, Area Agency on Aging, Oaklawn Foundation on Aging. So we've got a good group of people behind us, and I think we're going to be in good shape if we can just find that one spot that meets all of our needs.
Thank you. I appreciate your due diligence. I just want to make sure there was enough money, and I agree on the operational. We don't want to be in a situation where we're having to pay, like the city, $60,000 to operate a empty building for 3 months. So.
You know, that was always a concern with a tax to build a jail and then a tax to operate it. If the one to build it passed and the one to operate it did not pass, then you'd be in trouble.
Right.
But I think we're in good shape there. I know the city is still looking at partnering with us. CHI is looking at partnering with us, and then we've got, like I say, a couple other that have access to some grants that we can receive. And you know, if we help fund it for the first 5 years and get it up off the ground, Justice Myers, I think it will be self-supportive at that point. We owe it to our seniors. We have a large number of seniors in Garland County, and I think everybody here is for it. We just got to find the right spot.
Thank you, Judge.
Were we through with that one?
Do you need an emergency clause?
We haven't voted yet either.
Did you vote? Did we vote on that?
We haven't voted
No,
yet.
we have not voted yet.
Go ahead we've already got a motion and a second to approve, so go ahead and vote.
Justice Broughton?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Bright? Yes. Owen?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Brazil?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
McGrew?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Rainey?
Yes.
So the chair will entertain a motion to declare emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Brazil, second by Justice Brown.
Yes.
Declare an emergency. Sarah, please call the roll.
Justice Broughton?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Bright? Owen?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Brazil?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
McGrew?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Rainey?
Yes.
All right. Chair will entertain a motion to suspend the rules and place read appropriation ordinance by title only.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Brazil, second by Justice Anderson. Sarah, please call the roll.
Justice Broughton?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Bright? Yes. Owen?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Brazil?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
McGrew?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Rainey?
Yes.
All right, Sarah, please read O2335 by title only.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to amend ordinance O2332 to correct a scrivener's error in section 2 to comply with the county judge's request in the second whereas and for other purposes.
Move to adopt O2335.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Brown, second by Justice Peters. Any discussion? Bartleby, the scrivener, was involved in this. Sarah, please call the roll.
Justice Broughton?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Bright? Owen?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Brazil?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
McGrew?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Rainey?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Sarah, O2336 by title only.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to amend the 2023 Garland County Budget Ordinance O2257 to anticipate revenue, appropriate, and transfer funds therefore to various budgets and for other purposes.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Dixon, second by Justice Anderson. Any discussion? Sarah, please call the roll.
Justice Broughton?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Bright?
Yes.
Owen?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Brazil?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
McGrew?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Rainey?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Mr. Troutman, you have to turn that on before you try to use it. Hopefully we got good batteries in it this time.
We do.
I think Sarah's made a couple trips down there to make sure that they worked.
Testing.
Can you sing a couple
Sir?
verses? Can you sing a couple verses of Old Lang Syne?
You'd have to teach me that one. I just know the chorus. I didn't bring any food tonight. I'm sorry, Judge. Since we last met, Gary Jackson and I met with the Garland County Superintendents and the Education Council at the Hot Springs School District Admin Building. We had a meeting with our 5 aviation companies. I mentioned last week, it's a good thing when competitors get along, and I think I mentioned that Tony McCanley in particular suggested that anyone that was involved in the aviation industry, they didn't need to lose anyone if someone didn't fit the needs at his particular operation, that maybe they could work somewhere else and stay in the industry. It's just Tony, and consequently I didn't have it in my notes, but if you saw today's paper, Cobalt Aero Services was awarded for their part in global trade, won a statewide honor, one of only 5 companies in the whole state to win that. They won that Friday night. The event was at the State House Convention Center, and I spoke to Tony this afternoon, pleased to tell you he had 17 employees join him for that. So that was a strong showing. Congratulations to Cobalt. Mentioned last week, I know this is a Metro Partnership report, but just the magnitude of the solar eclipse, we had 86 folks show up for a lunch and learn that we conducted at Crystal Ridge. We met with 12 students from ASMSA to talk about the inner workings of the Metro Partnership in the Chamber. We continue, I want to thank the judge. We had, Cole and I participated in the Garland County Broadband Committee meeting, the first that Adam Webb organized, and we continue to meet with the Arkansas Broadband Committee. Our MSA group met with our friends from Malvern, the Village, and Arkadelphia. I was able to attend the IEDC conference in Dallas, where I had a follow-up visit with a major project that we're working, and we later the next week had a follow-up Zoom call with that project, the 3rd one of its kind, so that we're very enthused about that. Mentioned last week about the expressway, just fantastic. Judge, a friend that I mentioned that works at Longhorn said today her drive was cut in 15 minutes, and very appreciative. I know a lot of folks in Garland County feel that way. Gary Jackson met with the first gentleman, Brian Sanders, Steve Qualls, and Bill Barnes in Mountain Harbor about workforce ed. We drove, our Majestic Committee and Representative Warren drove to Northwest Arkansas, had a meeting with some business leaders up there about possibly being involved in the Majestic project. Had a trustee luncheon with our largest investors of the partnership.
I want to thank personally Cora Easterday from West Central Planning. She helped us. I've told you all we got a SHRM Foundation grant for our efforts in workforce. Cora and I, we've got a large committee, but Cora came and worked with me. We got that project sent off to DC, and we actually did an amendment to it this past Friday and got that approved. Mentioned last week, and I can't emphasize this enough, the highlight probably of in my mind of the report is being at Lake Hamilton School, Dr. Peters, and teaching the 8th graders. Gary and I got to do that. It's been a whole day. Most of the classes were about 28 per. We had taught 7 classes that day and just really had great feedback, telling our kids what we tell you all, as mentioned, about the companies that we have here, the opportunities, without ever having to go to Little Rock, Northwest Arkansas, or DFW for work. We are in Justice Brazil and Justice Brown will be in Mountain Pine on Wednesday teaching classes, so we're looking forward to that. A lot of interest, as we mentioned last week. Coy Steakhouse and Satellite Cafe will be coming to Hotel Hot Springs. Let's see, draft day meeting. Met with Amanda Porter at Lake Hamilton. We've nailed down draft day dates for April 17th and 18th of 2024. Talked to Sean Higginbotham today at Lake Hamilton, superintendent, so we're looking forward to that, to build on the 14 schools and 57 companies we had this past year in its inaugural meeting. Our Chamber and Metro Partnership, I'm proud to announce, was named by Arkansas Money and Politics as one of the best of in the state since we met last week. Just got notice of that, I believe, last Tuesday. Our Chamber Partnership Scholarship Golf Tournament we held in a monsoon, but we got that completed, and we'll be able to not only give 8 scholarships to our local schools for children on the students on the 4-year university path, but 7 on the career and technical path. So that is something that we are proud of and going with the workforce thing. Appreciate everyone that attended the elected officials appreciation breakfast last Thursday. Nice crowd there. That evening, our own Cole McCaskill really dazzled. National Park College had their 50th anniversary celebration, and Dr. Hogan and Barbara Briscoe spoke. Cole was the closer and just really brought it home, and mentioned his mom was in the inaugural first class in 1973 out at National Park College, and the difference it had made in both he and his mother's lives. It was mentioned last month about definition exactly of economic development and really where business retention and expansion fits into that equation. And so, Judge, tonight I've asked our chairman for the Metro Partnership for 2024 and also Arkansas Businesses Small Business of the Year in 2022, Mr. Vince Signorelli from Tanner's Team Sports and Vulcan Pickleball. Today is a male holiday, but for those of you that subscribe to Arkansas Business, you will see a front page story tomorrow about Tanner's and Vulcan, about how pickleball is really taking on. So Vince, if you don't mind, I'd like to call Vince up and explain just exactly where BR&E fits into the scheme of economic development.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for giving me a few minutes tonight just to speak to you. I'd just like to say a few words really as you view and consider and look at the county's investment in the Hot Springs Metro Partnership. I thought just taking a few minutes to describe to you what I see really framed in terms of personal testimony as a business owner. I've kind of outlined a 33-year timeline for you that should take me just a couple minutes to go through, but I'll give you a sense of what that looks like. Our company was founded in 1991 in Richmond, Virginia. There it was a small startup company, bootstrapped by myself. We, participated in Richmond's, enterprise zone program. We, enjoyed certain incentives and grants that were provided to us to place the business there in downtown Richmond. In 2001, we made the plan to move the business to Hot Springs. Just so I had called at that point as I was planning that move, asking, I guess it was through the Chamber of Commerce and the Economic Development Organization at that time, were there any incentives for us, any help in terms of moving expenses or site, helping us locate a site or anything. And basically, to my surprise, there was nothing offered. I mean, they literally back at that time in 2001, the city of Hot Springs, in Garland County's position was, come if you want. So we did anyway. 2002, I bought 13 acres in Piercy in the Sunshine area, erected a 4,000 square foot building, and we of course moved the business here and my family. It was all personally funded. We began immediately hiring locals. We set up a bus stop there on site for families to use to make it a better place to work for moms and dads to work. And really I'm quite proud of the fact that at that time we became kind of the center of the Sunshine community. Maybe some of you guys remember seeing the business there at that point. In 2006, we erected another 6,000 square foot office and warehouse location there on the site. We were also renting buildings for warehouse buildings around the Lake Hamilton School District area. In 2010, we completely refinanced the business, all through local banks. That's the point at which I became more acquainted with the Hot Springs Metro Partnership, who began facilitating that and introducing me to lenders, introducing me to those who were experts with the Small Business Administration, Arkansas Business and Technology Development Center, and the Southwest Arkansas Planning and Development District to help facilitate that. In 2014, I bought 6.5 acres site at Mid-America Park. It was one of the last, sites at the park. This is the industrial park for the community, and I spent a year designing and planning that move, to build a 20,000 square foot building there. In 2015, right before we were to break ground, we were denied a water meter at the industrial park. It was a stunning, terrifying situation that I'll never forget. I remember in the beginning, we were just trying to move our business to Hot Springs, and now we're here, and we're trying to expand our business, and we were denied a water meter. And that's just before we broke ground, and that's after I bought the property and planned the development of that property. In desperation, I contacted the Hot Springs Metro Partnership, and I called on them for help. And my message to them at that time is, guess what? I may have just wasted all that money buying that property, but guess what we're getting to do? No water meter, we're moving to Malvern. Well, the water meter was approved, and that was facilitated by the Hot Springs Metro Partnership. I didn't know a lot of people at that time. We had a great burgeoning business, and we felt like we were welcomed in this community and doing a lot of great work. But I cannot tell you what the Hot Springs Metro Partnership meant to me at that moment in time, when I just needed somebody who knew something, who knew how to navigate through county and city government, and they got it done for us. They saved the day. We began the site work. I spent $100,000 just on site work. I built a 20,000 square foot office and warehouse. I spent millions. From that point, we started Vulcan Baseball, and we've been growing steadily over all these 23 years that we've been here in Hot Springs. In 2018, I started Vulcan Pickleball. I added another 10,000 square foot warehouse addition, created Vulcan Pickleball Park, which is open to the public 24/7. It is one of the busiest parks in this community, and again, spent millions of dollars. In 2023, this year, of course, we're the largest and most important marketing partner and licensee for Rawlings, based out of St. Louis, Rawlings Baseball. But they acquired a couple of years ago Easton Baseball, the #2 brand in baseball, and they've assigned again the training and accessories gear to us, and that began in earnest here in Hot Springs. We moved 26 tractor trailers of inventory here and spent millions overseas buying more inventory to bring in here, and it has doubled our business overnight in addition to the Vulcan Pickleball business. This year we've added another 20,000 square foot warehouse addition. We've done significant new site work. I have again spent millions of dollars, and all of this was facilitated. All the different complications involved with projects like this were all facilitated by the Hot Springs Metro Partnership. This year, I'm happy to say that we have now merged with Smith's Consumer Products, which is directly across the street from us. Founded in 1886 here in Hot Springs, Arkansas. So now we're truly implanted as one company, double the size, all under the umbrella of the Smith Sporting Group. And again, this was a multi-million-dollar transaction. We now have an 80,000 square foot facility on a 10-acre campus with over 70 employees just locally. So remember, I moved here in 2002 and built a little building on Sunshine Road. And look where we are now. As Gary just mentioned to you, we're on the front page of Arkansas Business today. You'll see it tomorrow. They're telling the story of our pickleball business and how we've truly put Hot Springs on the map in terms of pickleball. We're one of the top brands in the world. The jobs that we've created over all this time are primary jobs. So anybody that knows a little bit about economic development, primary jobs, manufacturing jobs are the jobs that drive really everything. We've won statewide awards. We are promoting Hot Springs statewide, regionally, and nationally. We have another in 2024 major pickleball business that's going to triple the size of our overall company if we're favored with this business, and we believe that we're going to get it. We're going to create, if this happens, another 30-plus jobs locally. It's a huge opportunity, and I guess if you just look at the trajectory of our business and what we've done here, and the importance that I believe Hot Springs Metro Partnership has played in facilitating our ability to stay here and to flourish the way we've done, it's super meaningful to me. I've been inspired by this personally. This is part of my testimony today, that I've wanted to get involved with the Hot Springs Metro Partnership, and I've worked very closely with other businesses in this community, and I've worked with prospects outside of this community. And I'm really excited, and I've educated myself on economic development, and I'm so proud to be a part of a fantastic team here. Today, Hot Springs Metro Partnership is a public-private entity. It's a leveraged entity in terms of, we have staff, but we also have, as board members and friends and partners in the partnership, some of the most talented and best business leaders in this community, and I'd like to think, if you'll indulge me, that I'm one of them. I'm passionate about what I do with the Metro Partnership. So today I'm an investor and I'm a board member, and I'm looking forward in 2024 to be the chairman of it. The Hot Springs Metro Partnership is vital to all that I do as a business operator. The support, the advocacy that I've described to you, the resources that they give to me, everything that they have essentially serves as a clearinghouse of anything. So if there's any need that I have, whether it be government related or finance related or site work related, the list goes on and on. I can literally pick up the phone and call Gary Troutman or Cole McCaskill, and they will figure out where I need to go and make things happen for me. The economic development organizations in communities throughout this country are vital to the growth and vibrancy and relevancy of all communities. They aren't just, it's not true that all economic development organizations do is attract new businesses. That's only one component of what they do. They also retain existing businesses and help them grow. So the businesses that we have in this community, that's the easiest way to add new jobs. Many of them are vibrant and growing if they have partners who, through the partnership, that can help them, in those efforts. Those are easier ways to add jobs and quicker ways to add jobs. Talent and workforce, anybody in business knows this is the most challenging thing that we have. I mean, we have job openings now, as many employees as we have. We have many, many more job openings. We've got needs for talent that is difficult at high levels, especially to find in this community. Talent and workforce in particular is the #1 economic development organization issue in this state. That's true nationally, and it's very true here. Workforce is #1. So they're navigating, our partnership, our economic development organization is navigating and leading in terms of infrastructure, housing, amenities, government. What they do is vital to my job as a CEO of a company. So I just wanted to share that testimony with you today. I guess my goal in this is just to add some new color to how you view the organization. I know that I'm very, very proud to be a part of it. I'm very, very proud to be a part of this community. I have made the decision, I've had the opportunity many times to move away, move the business, but I've made Hot Springs my permanent, forever home, and I've made Tanner's and the businesses that I run and operate, I've made Hot Springs in this community, Garland County, the permanent home for our businesses. Our next stage in 2024 and beyond as a larger organization is new acquisitions. So that's an active thing that we're doing. It is our intention to bring more of these great primary jobs to this community. So I'm just proud of my role, and I'm proud of everything that Gary Troutman and Cole McCaskill have done, and the entire team there have done to support and advocate for our business. So that's my testimony. So thank you.
Thank you, Vince. That's a true testimony.
So thank you, Judge. Thank you, Vince. Just really appreciate it. Like I said, the question was raised last month. I think it was a valid one, but you get tired of hearing me month after month. But business retention and expansion really is 80% of what we do. It's hard enough to get a company here, but when we get them here, we want them to thrive and succeed. And no better example than Tanner's and Vulcan. So, Judge, appreciate the extra time for that tonight.
It was good to know. I actually didn't know the history. I actually knew the people that built his first building here, and thought it was. I didn't think there was any way it ever worked, but I had no idea that what he went through to get here, and that's a true testimony to the American dream right there. And Vince, we appreciate what you do for our community very much. Thank you. Any questions?
Move to approve it.
Second.
I don't have a question as much as I have a comment. Vince, thank you. That was amazing. Thank you for, I wish you could come give that report to us all the time, because that really truly is a success story. I'm violating something I said to Jessica, so I said I wasn't going to say anything tonight. I hadn't planned to say anything, but while I was sitting there listening, a thought came to my mind. Obviously I've had my disagreements with what I think the Metro Partnership's doing. That's no secret to anybody here, but the other 12 members of the Quorum Court besides myself think the Metro Partnership is doing an adequate job, I'd throw this out there. I know that we've got our budget hearing a week from Wednesday. I'm not saying I'm going to vote for this, but to my fellow JPs, if I don't think that $87,500 from us and $112,500 from the Metro Partnership is enough for economic development. So what I challenge the Quorum Court to do, if you really do believe that the Metro Partnership is doing a good job, not only should you give them more money, I think you should double the amount of money that you give them and raise the amount that the Metro Partnership gets under their contract next year to $150,000, $175,000. Because if they're doing a good job, which the majority of the people in this room think that they are, I do think they deserve more money. And if I was happy with them, I'd be advocating for them to get more money. So throw that out there. Nobody's expecting that, I'm sure.
We have a motion and a second to approve the report. I think we have a motion by Justice Anderson. We have a second to approve the report.
Yes, Brown.
Justice Brown. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. So let's look at our overtime report. It's included in your packet as usual. We've had some overtime. Talked to Billy out at the landfill today, and we've got a lot of staff out there. We're getting close to being fully staffed, but facility that normally runs about $5,000 a day ran $14,989 through the gate today. There seems to be no end to the amount of waste that is coming to our landfill. So it's everybody out there is working about twice as much as they should. I mean, that's why you're going to see some overtime there, and it seems like every weekend we have some trees blow down, so you're going to see some on the road department side as well. I'll take a motion to approve the overtime report. Motion made by Justice Brown. Second by Justice Rainey. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. I was hoping that Treasurer Stockdale would stay, but we'll get him next month. He made an announcement this past week at the Republican Committee about retirement, and I was going to let him visit with that. And John's got a little bit of information on how we move forward once his resignation is tendered. I think he's planning on retiring November the 1st. I believe that's the date. October 31st will be his last day, and so there's a pretty good process going forward, how someone is put in that office, and then it's about the Quorum Court, of course, and it's a lot of responsibility there. So we need to look at this long and hard. But John's got some information he wants to address with you.
Justices, as Judge Mahoney just said, this has all happened pretty recently, so this didn't have time to make it in your packets. I have placed at each of your stations a little summary of the law and the procedure for appointing someone to fill the vacancy in a county elected office. There are a few extra copies of this up here if anyone in the public wants one. And if you'll look at what you have there, I'll walk you through the process, at least the outline of the process. So this is a pretty unusual scenario. In fact, certainly in the time that I have worked here and in the time that I've lived here, I can't ever remember a countywide elected official resigning during their term of office. So this is very unusual in that you have to use this procedure. So it's set out in Arkansas Code annotated 1414, 1308, 9, and 10. 1308 is the first thing that you look at, and what it does is just defines what a vacancy is. And there's a lot of different conditions which create a vacancy. One of them is resignation. So that's the situation we're in. And Judge Mahoney said Mr. Stockdale has tendered his resignation. It's effective October 31st, so the end of this month. And Tim apparently had to leave a little early, but I would have asked for him to be available for any questions that you may have. But the bottom line is he's notified everyone that he's resigning on that effective date. So the Quorum Court has an obligation to fulfill and appoint someone to fill that vacancy. So you move on to 1414, 1309. That is the procedure that requires the Quorum Court to declare a vacancy, and that is done by resolution, and that has to be done within 30 days of the resignation. So we have tentatively scheduled that for a review consideration by the Quorum Court as a special meeting on November 6th after your Finance Committee meeting. At that meeting, I would have a resolution prepared for you that's very simple. It just says the treasurer has resigned, and pursuant to the statute, the Quorum Court needs to declare that office vacant. And that's all you have to do at that point. And then you move on to selecting candidates. This is solely in the Quorum Court's purview. There is no specific rule out there how you select a candidate. There is nothing that says you have to do it any particular way. Wouldn't be any kind of violation of the statute if you walked out into the parking lot and picked someone and said, you are our new treasurer. Well, you had to go through the approval process, but as far as selecting a candidate, there's no procedure that's set out in the law. So it should be something meaningful. I've made a suggestion, and that is that there should be some kind of public notice. Judge Mahoney has indicated that that notice can run on the county's website for the first couple of weeks in November. There should also be a notice in the newspaper that this vacancy exists for anyone who wants to potentially apply for it. And of course, if you know of anyone, if the public knows of anyone, they're all welcome and willing to submit an application as well. After that, there should be some sort of selection process by the Quorum Court. Interviews is probably the preferred process, but again, you're not bound by that. There is nothing that says how you have to do it. Interviews could be public, or they could be held in executive session if there was something that necessarily needed to be an executive session. That's specific. There's a statute that allows you to do that. We would look at the third week of November for that process. And assuming that you are able to come to some sort of idea about the candidate that you want, at the regular Quorum Court meeting in November, which as you all recall, because of budgeting, it is at the fourth Monday instead of the regular time. So it would be on November 27th. Assuming that the other steps can be done, you would be then looking at voting on a resolution to approve a new county treasurer on November 27th. That's the general process. There's probably some peripheral questions out there that still have yet to be answered, but you should all be prepared to go through those steps. I just want everyone to be aware of this because it's so unusual. It's never come up, at least in my memory. And if there's questions, I want to ask them and deal with all these in advance. So if anyone has any questions, let her rip.
Judge, do we need a motion to accept this procedure to fill?
No, sir. This is just informational for you guys. You can choose another procedure. You can choose no procedure. You can choose this. At this point, this is just information as to how the process should go by law.
John, I know there was a couple conflictions about what the term that this person, whoever's appointed, be filling out. Is that, have we figured out the answer to that question yet, whether it's for the entire remainder of Tim's term or if it's only, like Gene Haley said, until the next primary and through the end of 2024? Have we figured out which one of those is right?
What Justice Myers is referring to, if you aren't all aware, is there's some confusion. I won't even call it confusion. There's two different provisions in the law that appear to govern the term of a person appointed to fulfill this office. There is 14:14:13:10, which you guys have a copy of, and it says the person who is appointed shall serve the entire term that is unexpired. However, Amendment 29 to the Constitution sets up a different procedure, and that procedure relates to the timing of the resignation. And if it's within 4 months of the, if it's greater than 4 months from the next election, then that person only serves to the next general election. If it's less than that, then it rolls to the following general election. It's a bit confusing, but the underlying issue is, will that person serve till November of 24, or will that person serve until the next regular election where a treasurer would be on the ballot? So Amendment 29 deals with that issue. However, Amendment 55 transfers the authority to nominate and fill those county offices to the Quorum Court. Amendment 29 has them with the governor. It's an older amendment. Amendment 55 transfers all that to the Quorum Court. There is no document, there is no court case, there's no Attorney General's opinion that we've been able to locate that specifically says Amendment 29 controls or 1414-1310 controls. It is my opinion that 1414-1310 controls, and that the term would be the entire unexpired term. But we are attempting to get something in writing from either the State Election Commission or the Attorney General's office about their experience with that. It's my opinion that it would be the entire unexpired term. That's where we're sitting with this right now. I will also add that the Election Commission has requested an Attorney General's opinion on related questions, although their request did not ask that specific question. So it is my intent to talk with the Gene Haley, your election chairman, to see if the Election Commission will amend their request and let the Attorney General answer that specific question as well. So that's where it says, Justice Myers, I honestly don't have the yes or no answer. It's my belief that 1414-1310 controls. I base that on several old opinions, several other procedures that have been done in other counties. I believe that the term would be until the end of Tim's unexpired term. But again, don't have anything that definitively says that.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I hadn't heard of that Amendment 55. Sounds like you're probably right, but I guess we'll
Amendment 55 is the amendment that it was adopted in 1977 that basically overhauled county government. And it says, okay, Quorum Court, here's your powers, and amongst those powers is the power of appointment, which leads to us being able to proceed under 1414-1310. But
sounds good. It makes
again,
it a very important appointment.
It is extremely important, and that's one of the reasons, Justice Myers is absolutely correct, one of the reasons why I'm putting this in front of you tonight is to impress upon you the timeline. This is a very, very important office, controls all the county's finances and investments, works detailed hand to hand every day with Judge Mahoney, with the county clerk, with every other county office. So it's important to do this well and timely. There, again, no procedure, but I'm saying all this to impress upon you, we don't want to waste time with this. We want to do it right, but we do not want to let it sit here open for a long period of time. Other questions?
So there was an article in the paper last week, one day, wasn't it, David, about his resignation? And since then, I've received 4 people of interest, and I've already received 2 resumes. So this is going to be a highly sought-after position. We may have as many as 10 or 12 people to interview. So what you probably want to do is start thinking about a day that you would want to call each in and interview. Like John explained, we're going to put it in the newspaper, we're going to put it on our website, that the position is open, and they also handle all of our investments. Even though Rebecca and I are on our investment team with them, they actually do the investing and they actually seek the bids for the investing. So this is a very important position, and it's going to take a lot of time and thought from each of you. I have no input into it. I'm going to try to gather as much information as I can for you as a body and bring it to you so you can look at them all at the same time and take a couple of weeks and look through them, vet the individuals that are turning in resumes, and then we'll make an informed decision towards the end of November. And it may be that you want to, there's been a couple jobs that we actually called people back in for a second interview because we had 2 that we were torn between, so we brought them back in for a second interview. And I'm not saying you have to do an interview, I just think it's a good idea to get that person in front of you, ask the questions you want to ask. I think it's a good idea to do that. This is a very important position, and we want to do it the right way because obviously we're probably going to be working with them for the next 3 years. Any questions?
Is there anyone in that office that would be interested in?
We have two individuals interested from within Garland County, and we have 2 individuals interested from outside of the Garland County itself. There's the 2 resumes I have right now are very good resumes. But I'll keep them all and we'll give them all to you at one time so you can look and be as fair as we can be about it. And it's it's a hiring process, basically, but it's actually an appointment to a elected position, so.
To be clear, following up what Judge Mahoney just said, this person's not an employee, they're an elected official. And so they have to qualify under the statute that the elected official would qualify if they were running. So it's the same as if a person wanted to run for this office, this person has to meet those same qualifications.
If you come up with a question or concern, just let us know and we'll try to address it. But that's the plan moving forward from right now. Anything else? How about a motion to go home?
I'd like to make an observation, please.
Yes, sir.
Friday this past week, I was involved in a trip on the Loop, the new Highway 5, to attend the Governmental Affairs Committee meeting in the village. There are several people, including Representative McGrew, myself, and some of the other officials of the Governmental Committee that were invited to know what the new speed limit is there, which is 55. And I just wanted to make sure everybody else knew that that speed limit is not 65, as if you were making a left off of 70E. It is 55, 5-5. So just a little warning. That's all I have, Judge.
All right. Now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move that we adjourn.